What do you like in history the most? Which boxer? Who's your favorite?
It's hard to say my favorite. A lot of fighters are good fighter in terms of skills. There's a lot. Like De La Hoya.
Back to him coming to a ring, coming into the ring. See all those people? See him walk through all those people?
Yeah.
See that? He's damaged.
Yeah.
This is what you do for a living. You think you're a normal person?
Now when you start thinking, you're powerful.
Yeah, you think you're God. See, that's what people don't understand.
Yeah.
He's still that right now. Now he wants to be a normal person though. Now he can't because he's still that. That's why I say he's damaged. That's not our fault. Somebody told us this is the best thing in life.
What happens when boxing legends hear the name Oscar De La Hoya? The answer comes immediately. There is no pause, no hesitation, no search for the right words. In rooms filled with fighters who built their careers on confidence and control, the reaction arrives before explanation has time to form. The name alone is enough to shift the tone.
Ryan Garcia, issues with Oscar and Golden Boy. Did you see that coming? Like, did you know that eventually that
he said,
and I told him, you can ask him.
Yeah.
I told him.
You think Oscar De La Hoya is a good person?
I don't know if he's a good person or not, but I think he's not.
These reactions do not sound rehearsed. They do not feel like praise delivered for an audience. They surface quickly, almost instinctively, as if the conclusion was reached long ago and never needed revisiting. Fighters who faced him, trained around him, or watched him closely all respond in the same way. Not with stories, not with statistics, with recognition.
All right. Just to repeat the exchange I just heard, Manny said to Oscar, "You're still my idol." And Oscar said to Manny, "No, now you're my idol."
I thought the fight was a close fight. It's just where the point system go, man. If you look at the point system, man, who touching who the most?
Oscar or Floyd? Who won?
Hey, man, if you go by point system, you're going to have to give it to Oscar. If you're going by point system.
Thank you.
Oscar De La Hoya is not discussed like an ordinary opponent. His name carries an expectation that existed before the first bell ever rang. Fighters describe preparing differently once they knew he was across the ring. Camps felt heavier, decisions felt slower, the margin for error seemed smaller than usual. What stands out is how consistent these reactions are. Different eras, different divisions, different relationships with the man. Yet the language remains restrained, measured, and immediate. No exaggeration, no debate, just an understanding shared by those who experienced it firsthand.
In 2007, Floyd Mayweather is there.
Right.
Floyd Sr. is not going to train you.
No, he's not going to train me to beat up his son.
No.
I bring in Freddie Roach. So now I'm facing Floyd, who again, it's like that rivalry, the villain and the good guy, I'm an old 33-year-old boxer, but I still want to fight the best.
Here's how it looks.
How do you like it? How do you like it? How about
There's another straight right hand landing for De La Hoya, and a jab, and a right hand again, and the crowd goes nuts as De La Hoya begins to take over.
This is not a story built from highlight reels or championship records. It is built from the way fighters reacted when asked a simple question, from the way their tone changed, from the certainty that appeared before explanation followed. When boxing legends are asked about Oscar De La Hoya, the answer does not drift with time, and that consistency is where this story begins.
Oscar De La Hoya won it. He know my number. He know how to call me. He know how to get in touch with me. Only thing I'm gonna do is keep racking up victories and beating the best. Oscar De La Hoya said that he wants the best. He want to leave off fighting the best. Bring it on. I'll tax that ass too.
The reactions attached to Oscar De La Hoya did not come from press conferences or carefully framed interviews. They were not answers shaped for television or delivered with an audience in mind. Most of them surfaced in quiet moments, long after the noise of competition had faded.
Prime Oscar versus Prime Canelo. Who wins? Oscar De La Hoya.
At what weight? Hold on, at what weight though?
47.
Nah, I don't even think that's fair.
Why?
Bro, even today when
we said Prime Oscar. Oscar wasn't in his prime fighting at 54 and 60. Prime Oscar's 47. Even 35, people would say.
Prime Canelo is 60.
Several times. Well, this was mano-mano right here, huh? A wonderful exchange of mano-mano. Tremendous power by De La Hoya.
you really got to be smart. You really got to be watching everything because they'll make you pay. Oscar. Definitely Oscar. Definitely.
Are you guys cool now?
Yeah, definitely. We're cool.
Oscar is not dancing.
In your mind, you're thinking, I'm gonna throw it, I'm gonna throw it. When it's halfway here, you close it. The reason why we keep it open is because the punch, when it's relaxed, it comes much faster. If you're so tense and you want to throw it so strong, the punch, you can see it in your face. First of all, your opponent can see it in your face, and the punch comes harder, but slow.
What gives these reactions their weight is how little effort went into forming them. Fighters did not search for the right phrasing. They did not try to explain themselves. The response appeared fully formed, as if it had been waiting for the question to arrive. These words came from locker rooms, where no cameras were present, from post-career reflections, when reputation no longer needed protection, from conversations between fighters who had already paid the cost of the sport and had nothing left to prove.
Did you see Oscar De La Hoya challenge Rogan?
No.
Yeah, he goes, I challenge you to have me on your podcast, be your biggest numbers ever. I had Chin pause the video. I'm like, well, that's not real. He's not going to beat Elon's numbers. But then Oscar keeps going, goes, you be the mediator. It'd be me and Dana White. We'll hash it out live on air. I'm like, well, that'll do numbers.
because he and Dana White
hate each other, despise each other. But
that it was even taking place. You saw the CompuBox numbers, which slightly favored De La Hoya in the second round. Right off. Now the left hook lands upstairs.
When fighters speak this way, they are not revisiting moments. They are recalling sensations, the atmosphere of a camp, the pressure surrounding a fight, the awareness that certain opponents changed the conditions before anything happened inside the ring. Oscar's name consistently triggers that kind of memory. Fighters rarely begin by describing what he did. They talk instead about what changed once his name entered the equation. Preparation felt different. Attention arrived earlier. The moment seemed larger than the bout itself.
Did you know what was slowing down? That he saw the opening.
Oh, yes.
He just didn't get there.
Exactly. Manny Pacquiao would be right in front of me. He would, after hitting me 15 times, and then I would be ready to hit him, and he would be wide open, and I couldn't pull the trigger. I just couldn't pull the trigger.
The gang leader turned boxer Ricardo Mayorga was a menace. In the lead up to his fight with Oscar De La Hoya 19 years ago, the Nicaraguan made it personal, taunting Oscar and his family.
Once his name was official, routines stopped feeling automatic. Fighters described checking themselves more often, adjusting habits they had trusted for years. Against Oscar, familiarity did not feel like comfort. It felt like exposure. The pressure did not come from intimidation in the traditional sense. Oscar did not rely on menace or unpredictability. He represented expectation. Facing him meant stepping into a moment that would be remembered, examined, and replayed. Fighters became aware of that long before they reached the arena.
Julio Cesar Chavez, and while it was called a draw, basically he did defeat him that night. Look at Whitaker, because Whitaker has hardly landed a punch of his own in this round.
Standing in the corner, moments before the bell, many recalled an unusual clarity. Breathing sounded louder. Instructions felt heavier. The ring did not invite comfort. Oscar's presence compressed the moment, pulling focus inward before the first exchange ever occurred. This was the first shift he created. Before contact, before rhythm, before outcome, fighters were already responding to him, adjusting internally to a pressure that had arrived early and settled quietly. And once the bell finally sounded, that pressure did not disappear. It followed them forward.
And bring home Olympic gold.
And that was the story.
And that was the story.
Right.
Boy, was it a lot of pressure. I still don't know how I did it.
Once the fight began, many opponents described a subtle shift they could not immediately explain. Nothing dramatic announced it. No single exchange defined it. Yet the ring no longer felt familiar. Timing behaved differently. Space became less predictable. Movements that usually flowed without thought required adjustment. Against Oscar De La Hoya, fighters often realized they were reacting rather than acting. The rhythm they relied on did not settle. Exchanges felt suspended, as if the fight refused to take a clear shape. Oscar did not force chaos. He allowed uncertainty to develop and remain. What unsettled opponents was how calm this felt from his side. Oscar did not appear rushed. He did not signal urgency. His presence suggested control without announcement. Fighters noticed themselves recalculating more often than usual, reassessing decisions that normally came instinctively.
Just about all he could handle. De La Hoya, an uppercut, and Kamau is hurt. He's down. Undulating exchange between De La Hoya and Kamau. Kamau hurt again.
As rounds progressed, small errors carried greater consequence. A missed step lingered. A mistimed commitment changed the texture of the round. Against other opponents, these moments passed quickly. Against Oscar, they accumulated. Fighters spoke about a sense that the fight was being shaped quietly, one adjustment at a time. The ring itself seemed to resist predictability. Distance felt elastic. Openings appeared and closed before decisions could fully form. Fighters described feeling slightly out of sync, not overwhelmed, but unsettled. That discomfort persisted even when exchanges went their way. Oscar did not need to dominate every moment to influence the fight. His effect was gradual. By altering how the ring felt, he altered how opponents thought. The contest became less about execution and more about managing uncertainty. By the time fighters recognized this shift, it had already taken hold. The ring no longer belonged to habit, it belonged to adaptation. And adapting under pressure carried its own cost.
You win the gold medal, 19 years old. Then 4 years later, at 23, you're fighting a 34-year-old Chavez, which I believe at the time, his record was 99-1-1?
99, right? Going for his 100th win.
So
years after the fights were over, the way boxing legends spoke about Oscar De La Hoya became more revealing, not less. With careers complete and rivalries softened by time, the urgency to defend outcomes disappeared. What remained were impressions that had not faded, memories that returned without effort. Fighters rarely revisited rounds or scorecards when Oscar's name came up. Those details belonged to the record books. Instead, they spoke about how certain moments stayed clear while others blurred together. Oscar's fights were often among the ones that resisted erosion. Some recalled the walk to the ring more vividly than the exchanges themselves. The sense of scale, the awareness that the moment carried weight beyond the contest. Even years later, those details surfaced intact, as if they had been preserved rather than remembered.
People need to understand there's a Mexican American, and you know this because I go through this all the time.
I'm the gringo.
Yeah, you're the gringo.
I was the gringo.
But if you say you're a gringo, then you're not Mexican. If you say you're Mexican, you're a gringo.
You feel that you beat Floyd. Why do you feel you won that?
I fought against the very best in Floyd Mayweather, younger, in his prime, undefeated, and when that final bell rings, you know it in your heart, in your gut, and physically, if you won or you lost. You just feel it. It's a sensation. And I just felt it.
Right.
You know, whether I was wrong or whether I'm right.
As time passed and the physical toll of the sport became unavoidable, fighters reflected differently on what they had faced. Speed diminished, strength declined, but memory sharpened around pressure. Oscar's name remained associated with intensity rather than fear, with awareness rather than dominance. Several fighters admitted that certain lessons only became clear long after the fight ended. Facing Oscar required discipline that extended beyond technique. Emotional control mattered as much as preparation. In hindsight, some recognized how anticipation and expectation shaped their decisions more than any single exchange.
Right-handed going in. Whoa, another time back out of there. Roy Boy's hurt. There's a hard right
At a time. For his bravery, you hear them chanting, "Gaddy, Gaddy."
Oscar De La Hoya is who he is. He's a fighter with no personality, and come May 5th, it's blood, sweat, and tears for Floyd Mayweather. I feel good. I'm ready to fight because I know what I have to go out there and do.
What stands out across these reflections is consistency. Different voices, separated by years and divisions, return to the same restrained language. Not exaggeration, not myth-making, just acknowledgement. Oscar De La Hoya stayed with people because the experience of facing him demanded presence at every level. Time removed bravado and softened rivalry, but it did not alter the impression. The memory remained intact, carried forward in how his name was spoken long after gloves were set aside.
Hey, look at Whitaker. Because Whitaker has hardly landed a punch of his own in this round. The bruising around the right eye of Whitaker is becoming more prominent.
When the reactions of boxing legends are placed side by side, a pattern becomes clear. The language does not escalate. The tone does not drift. The way they speak about Oscar De La Hoya remains restrained, measured, and immediate, regardless of era or outcome. They do not compete to define his legacy. They do not argue where he belongs in history. Instead, they return to the same place. The feeling, the pressure, the awareness that facing him changed the conditions of a fight before anything unfolded inside the ring. Oscar's name aired reinforcement. There is no urgency to convince, only acknowledgement. Across different divisions and different points in their lives, the reaction remains consistent. The answer arrives quickly. The explanation follows carefully, if at all. This consistency tells its own story, not of dominance or mythology, but of experience shared by those who understand the cost of the sport. Time has softened rivalries and blurred outcomes, but it has not altered the reaction. The memory remains intact, carried forward in tone rather than detail. Oscar De La Hoya is remembered not through debate, but through recognition that does not need repetition. When boxing legends are asked about Oscar De La Hoya, the answer still sounds the same. And that consistency explains everything.